It's easier for us to remain the same versus overcome our limiting beliefs. It's easier for us to remain the same versus challenging our self-esteem, self-worth stories and excuses. So when you have a big must, why you must achieve that goal, and when that must is bigger than your self-image, your stories, your excuses, or your fears, that is when you will take action. Is there a difference between setting goals and achieving goals? Why is it that so many people set goals? They have dreams, they have aspirations, hopes, and yet they don't achieve the goals, dreams, hopes, aspirations that they have. Like, is it possible that there's a disconnect between the intention, desiring, goal wanting or goal setting part of your brain and the goal achieving part of your brain? Do you think maybe the latest in neuroscience research and understanding which part of our brain is responsible for setting a goal and getting charged up and emotionally connected to that goal fires up, and then what happens along the way? And let me share with you some things that I've discovered that I think will help you become a goal achiever instead of a goal setter. In all the research that I've done, on the brain and peak performance, high performers, people who achieve their goals, and people who have goals, there's a couple of things that I think you need to know. Number one, setting goals is great. And you're using, what I call is the Einstein part of your brain, right? The part of your brain where you can imagine. And Einstein said imagination is more important than knowledge. Maybe at first, and skill. But you also use a part of your brain called the deductive reasoning part of your brain where you say, well, I don't want that, I want that. I don't like this, I like that. And therefore, here's really what I want to do, be, have, achieve, etc. And so we have the imagination, we have the deductive reasoning part of the brain. And if you thought of your brain as a organism instead of an organ, it's an organism that is consistently, growing, developing, creating new distinctions, new awarenesses, new neural connections, new patterns, reinforcing old patterns. But if you thought of your brain as a series of members of your orchestra or your band, and there's one member of your band or orchestra that can choose what song to play, but there's another member of your band that decides whether to play it or not, or whether it's not perfect, or whether you should go fast or slow. But if you started to think about one part of your brain chooses the goal, but you have to engage the other members of the orchestra or the band to help play and make harmony and coherence. So if you choose your goal, that's great. Get clear, get precise, so your brain knows exactly what to focus on. But the other part that you really want to activate, I'm going to give you two more parts, specific ones. The first part is the emotional part of your brain, the limbic part of your brain. So what happens is we set a goal, we get motivated, to achieve it because it's exciting, it's fun. We can foresee what it would be like to achieve the goal, how people will think of us, how we will feel about it, what it means to our lifestyle, our family, our friends, our charities, etc. But if we don't know how to override any of the obstacles that will get in the way, we're not going to achieve our goals. So let me explain a little bit deeper what I mean by that. In most cases, setting of the intention or the goal is happening in the left prefrontal cortex and imagination center, as I mentioned. But whenever we have a fear, for example, of failing, or a fear of disappointing ourselves, or a fear of being embarrassed, ashamed, ridiculed, or judged in case we don't achieve the goal, then the emotional center of our brain, the limbic system, deactivates motivational centers and deactivates the desire to take inspired action. So we procrastinate and we self-sabotage. So if one part of the band or orchestra wants to go this way, but another part of the band is trying to protect ourselves from any of the disempowering emotions or outcomes that may happen. We may fail, we may lose money, we may get in trouble of some kind. Then we're going to have one part of the band wanting to go this way, but another part of the band wants to stay where it's comfortable and safe, in our comfort zone. So how do we create the coherence between the desiring goal setting part of the brain and this emotional center that's holding us back or moving us forward, the emotional centers, right? And there's one more piece after that, so stay tuned. So the first thing to know is that in addition to setting a goal, I want you to do this little thing. I want you to take a piece of paper or on your computer or on your mobile phone, and I want you to write out 5 reasons why you must achieve that goal. Not could, should, want to, no. Why must you achieve that goal? And I want you to come up with the biggest musts that you can. So it's not to say because it'll feel great, because my children will be happy. Why is that so important for you? Let me explain. In our brain, we're always balancing out whether to move forward or to retreat into safety. And so the reason we don't take action and we procrastinate and sabotage in a lot of cases is because our brain has processed that taking action is riskier than remaining the same. And here is something that your brain's always doing. It is analyzing, okay, your stories, reasons, excuses, and potential uncomfortable feelings or outcomes against the behavior that needs to be taken. And so it's easier for us to remain the same than it is for us to overcome our fears. It's easier for us to remain the same versus overcome our limiting beliefs. It's easier for us to remain the same versus challenging our self-esteem, self-worth stories and excuses. So when you have a big must, why you must achieve that goal, and when that must is bigger than your self-image, your stories, your excuses, or your fears, that is when you will take action. So you have to create leverage with your big must or musts. And so when you have your 5 big musts and you compare them against remaining the same or the fear of failure or the fear of being embarrassed, ashamed, ridiculed, or judged, when your must is bigger than those things, that's when you'll take inspired action. And you already know this if you followed my work, that we do more to avoid pain or discomfort, whether it's real or imagined. We do more to avoid pain or discomfort, real or imagined, than we will do to gain pleasure. So we have to create leverage in our mind. Now, that was number 2. I said to you I'd give you one more thing to give you 3. So vision and clarity first, 5 musts, why you must achieve that vision and goals. And here is the third one. This one takes a little bit of time and most people are just too impatient. Habits. There's another part of your brain called the striatum, which is connected or part of a network known as your hippocampus, a part of your brain called your hippocampus, where your memories and habits are interrelated between hippocampus and striatum. Now, habits are created in our brain to conserve energy, to not have us think consciously about what we need to do. So here is my question for you. What is one habit that by starting this habit makes the achievement of that goal predictable? So is it waking up early and upgrading your skills by 20 minutes? Is it going to bed early? Is it being in a coaching program or a mastermind program where you have accountability? Is it, doing 15 minutes of exercise a day? Is it stopping to eat certain foods? Is it, having a meeting with your significant other every week to talk about your goals and how you're feeling? What is a keystone habit, I call it, that's going to move you forward, that over the next 100 days, not 20 days, 10 days, 5 days, or 33 days, 100 days, when you develop that habit then develops you. Meaning a positive, constructive, empowering habit that you focus on for a short period of time every day that moves you towards that goal. There are behaviors that when you apply them every single day like a ritual, a habit, they are the building blocks to achieve any goal. And since we know that every single goal that you want to achieve in health, wealth, relationships, career, business, finances, fun, experiences, charities, all the how-to exists, but you have to have the habits to not just create a pattern that is short-term, but a pattern that is long-term. Now, initially, you have to use conscious effort, energy, and attention to create a habit. But you can deliberately and consciously choose habits versus being a victim of the habits that you are repeating over and over and over again. So what is one empowering habit that you can implement for 100 days? All the research shows 66 to 365 days is how long it takes to create a neural pattern or a habit in your brain. Stop thinking short term, start thinking longer term, start thinking building habits that then build you. And if they're constructive habits, empowering habits, positive habits, they will help you create more constructive, empowering habits. And if you want a little bonus, ask yourself, what is one disempowering habit that you can let go of? One empowering, one disempowering. Get focused, get clear, set your vision, set your goals, have 5 big whys you must. And you, my friend, will become a goal achiever instead of a goal setter. Hey, this is John, and if you liked that video, watch the next video because it is packed with things that you can do right now to achieve success way faster than ever before.